Good morning, or good afternoon, wherever you are. Thought today I'd shoot a video out on the balcony because it looked beautiful and sunny through the window. I think it's going to rain later, but at least we've got the sun. And it's all supposed to go back to normal very soon, and that's a fantastic thing if it happens. I'll believe it when I see it. In the meantime, we're going to look at emotive language. Now, emotive language is the use of language that provokes emotions. Okay? It's language that makes you feel something in order for us to sell our idea to you. Now, we've discussed before the idea that feeling people can't be thinking people. Now, your brain only does one or the other. It's only processing so much information at a time. It's a sophisticated computer, but it's a computer that just can't do both. Now, there are two people inside you. There are two humans fighting for control. We've got the emotional side of you, the monkey side of us, the old, out-of-date, unevolved, lizard-brained, unsophisticated, chimpanzee animal inside us. And that's the one that feels. And we've got the human, the intelligent, the logical, the cold and calculating, the smart one. And they're fighting for control. And usually the monkey wins because it's a monkey. And it overwhelms the logical one with sheer brute ignorance. And for most people, that's how it is. Most people will switch off their logical brain and react with their illogical feelings. That's why we use emotive language, and that's why, unfortunately, emotive language works. Now, we've all got a fantastic example of this around the world at the moment, and you can see it for yourself. The use of fear is an absolute way of absolutely controlling the population. Somebody said the other day about Hitler. How did Hitler rise to power in the 1930s? How did he control a population of intelligent, logical people and make them follow into atrocious war crimes? And the answer is fear. He sold the idea of fear. He sold them this message that the world is a terrifying, scary place. But I've got the answer. And that's exactly what we see all around us. Now, America's become very good at this. First, it was the war on drugs. Well, it wasn't first, but we had the war on drugs. Now, that was in the 80s. I remember that very well. They ramped up the police force. They told everybody, oh, you've got to be afraid. Look at Mexico. The drug barons rule the world, and they're coming for us. And they're going to sell these drugs. They're going to destroy your families. They're going to destroy your schools. They're going to destroy your homes. And people bought into it, and they started a war on drugs. They overfunded the police, and the police forces grew larger and more powerful, and they took over. And the idea was that America slowly became a police state. It didn't work. We lost the war on drugs. The West completely lost. They couldn't stop any of the drugs getting in, and there was a good reason for that. I mean, when, for instance, when George Bush Sr. George Bush Sr. owned a lot of oil rigs floating out there in the ocean. Now, there's no checks between the oil rigs and the shore. Not like there is if you go ashore on a boat or in an aeroplane. You get your luggage searched. There was nothing like that. And I heard a rumor. I heard somebody allege that George Bush was bringing a lot of drugs in himself. So the president was bringing drugs in from his oil rigs, and then fake war on drugs. It didn't work. The drugs came in and society survived. Then we had the war on terror. We had, let's go back to Hitler. Now, Hitler, one of the most powerful leaps that he made was the burning of the Reichstag building. Now, the Reichstag was their parliamentary building, the center of government for their country, and it was burned to the ground by terrorists. And that gave him the authority to take over, to take extra powers. And then it turned out that it was what we call a false flag. Now, a false flag is when the government themselves act against the people and blame somebody else. Just like in events we see all the time, like perhaps the Twin Towers. Maybe that was a false flag. The evidence certainly bears that out. You have to decide for yourself. Look it up. The evidence is overwhelming. But look it up yourself. Don't take my word for it. Find out for yourself. I will say that my friend in Japan, he's much more into cinematography and videos and analysing pictures than I am. And he sent me a picture of the aeroplane just as it hit the Twin Tower, and it disappeared. You could see straight the way through it, and then it came back. Just like bad CGI. You decide. There's lots of evidence for that. Not got time to go into that here. But there's false flags, and they sell the idea that these terrorists are coming for you. And somebody worked it out. Somebody worked out the chances of being killed by a terrorist in America. In America, the heart of the war on terror, you are 8 times more likely to be accidentally killed by a policeman in America. Either shot or hit by a car. There is more chance of you accidentally being killed by a policeman than by a terrorist in America. So again, where do these fears come from? They're unfounded. But what the government does is it'll sell you the idea that there's something terrifying, but we've got the answer. And that's how it works. Keep people scared and you keep them dumb. Now we're seeing this at the moment on a global scale. We're seeing people refusing to think, refusing to apply common sense. It is starting to get better, slightly, but it's too late. This should have been from the outset. Now, a year ago when this started out, I did my research. That's why I've never been afraid of this. I did my research, I spent a day on the internet, I looked it up, I read the reports from actual, genuine scientists. I followed their advice to the letter, no problem whatsoever. No one else did that, or at least globally, not many people did that. So we've ended up with this fear and panic. In England, they were told 3 weeks lockdown. It's over a year now, and there's a date. It's supposed to end next month on the 21st. Next month on the 21st. That is insane. That's a whole extra month and a half. Another 6 weeks of being locked down. It's crazy. Although, I don't know. I'm not in England, but my parents said that they are allowed out and that they just go out. They said they go out every day and the police don't stop them. So I don't know what the truth is. But it is getting crazy over there. It's getting crazy in England because we've sold fear and we've taken science away from the scientists and given that power to the politicians who are selling fear, because fear sells. Emotive language does that. Politicians are experts at this. Now, I don't have time to get into a long lecture on body language and how to express yourself emotively. It's a big subject, but if we were doing this in class, I'd go through the body language. I could sell you the idea without saying a single word. Body language is very powerful. 70% of communication is completely non-verbal. Obama was very good at this. He was a very, very well-trained propagandist. Let's say that, because he wasn't selling politics, he was selling propaganda. So he'd walk into his room and he'd undo the buttons of his jacket. Now, unconsciously, that means I'm opening up to you. I'm releasing my barriers. He knew how to take the jacket off and hold it, put it over the back of his chair so that it looked like I'm comfortable, I'm one of you guys. Roll up my sleeves. Unconsciously, this is a sign I've got nothing to hide. And then when you speak, hands open, because again, nothing to hide, and you punctuate with careful hand gestures, and you look directly at the camera or the people you're speaking to, maybe a little longer than is required. All of these tricks work to make you look more honest, and they are tricks. I could teach you how to look more honest in 5 minutes. It really is a trick, but it works. And that's just the body language. Now, emotive language uses emotional words to sell an idea. And what it does is it sells my emotional context into you. Just the same as when I write a story. I'm writing the story emotionally, and I'm transferring my ideas from my brain to your brain. Okay, so no two people read a story in the same way, but basically I'm taking the emotional core of what I believe and I'm putting it into your brain for analysis. If I've done my job right, you'll agree with me. And that's how this works. We use emotive language to sell how I feel so that you feel the same way. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get you to feel the same way, not think, because none of this is about thinking. It's about selling the idea that you should feel a certain way. You should be angry about this because this needs to change. You should be horrified by this because it's terrible. You should be upset about this because it's horrendous that this is allowed to happen. And who's allowing it to happen? That's how this works. It sells the idea that there's emotional problem, and with an emotional problem we fix it with a logical solution. So what we do is we create an emotional vacuum, and then we provide a logical way to repair the damage. And that's all emotive language is. It's using the language to break down your barriers to your logical refusal to accept what I'm saying. So we break you down one emotional core at a time so that we can beat my message into your brain. Politicians, salesmen, they're all very, very good at this. Trump, I think he actually did try to get America back on its feet. I don't think he knew how bad America was, how badly screwed up that place really, really is, and how hopelessly corrupt it's become. But I think he underestimated, and I think when he got himself elected, he used these tricks very, very well. I think Donald Trump is a snake oil salesman. He knows exactly how to appeal to his audience. He knows how to sell the idea that it was the Mexicans. You've got to listen to me. It was the Mexicans. It was illegal immigration. He's not wrong. He's not wrong. Illegal immigration is a serious problem. Not for the reasons he was saying. The Mexicans aren't your enemies. The problem is illegal immigration. We've got people coming into America who are then hired by the corporations because they don't have to pay them full wages. That's the problem. We've got these people leaving their country to go to America to earn more money by being paid less money. That's the problem. The problem is we've got corporations acting illegally, and we've got a taxation system where one country is keeping another country down. That's the core of the problem. He's right, that's the problem. But it's not going to be addressed by making villains out of poor people who are trying to get to another country to get money to feed their families. That doesn't work. And that's why I think he backed away from the whole thing and left it alone. And then he moved on to other things. Well, we can't get into that. Just lack of time. So the idea of selling the concepts you've got emotionally works. It does work. You look at American politics, it's just a joke. Nobody is selling anything logical. Nobody is speaking logically. We've got these complete idiots. I mean, Biden is a bumbling fool. He's not fit to govern. He's not fit to be in government. He spent 50 years of doing absolutely nothing because he's completely inept, and now he's running the country. I suggest you look up Sky News Australia. They're very, very good. They're on YouTube. A lot of clips from their news on YouTube, and they are absolutely honest, and they rip him to pieces. They found that he's completely compromised by China. He has no say in the running of the government. He's just completely inept. The Democrats are a joke, but they're selling this idea emotionally, and we've done this before. We've looked at the liberal agenda, the way the liberal agenda has completely rejected logic and instead replaced it with my feelings. My feelings are hurt, so we have to change the law. Your feelings don't matter. Your feelings are your problem, and that's the truth of it. Emotive language tries to get past this barrier that we all know is true, that your feelings are up to you. There's an old saying in England, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me because I won't let them. A strong person is not afraid of your words. You can call me anything you like. It's not going to make me angry. It's not going to make me upset. It's not going to make me look at myself and think, oh my God, I should kill myself. The world needs to change to be fairer to me because my feelings got hurt. It's ridiculous. But that's what they're selling these days. They're selling the idea that you, especially you, people at your age, they're targeting you because you don't have the experience of how the world really works. So they're targeting people like you and telling you you're victims. The world has been out to get you for too long. It's your turn now. You need to stand up and be counted. Well, you're not standing up against the system if you work for the system. There's no logic there. And we've got this liberal thing now where liberal has become the mainstream throughout Western society, especially in America, because it's promoted by these idiots. So liberalism is the mainstream. You're not standing up for anything if you go along with the status quo. I've been saying this to writers. They're saying, oh, I'm an activist because I'm fighting for the liberal agenda. Well, the liberal agenda is the mainstream. You're not an activist if you're fighting for what everybody else has bought into. You're just another voice. You're not an activist. I'm an activist because I'm trying to stand up against them. I'm trying to stand up against the cancer that's rotting away society. The cancer where we look at feelings instead of logic. Okay, so today we're going to look at a short video where someone presents the use of emotive language. Someone better than me. Now this is a proper person who has made a career out of using an understanding of emotive language to sell ideas. So we're going to look at that, and then we're going to do a quick quiz just to make sure that your brains are still functioning. And that's us for today. So thank you for listening to my introduction. I've tried to keep this one as short as possible. We're going to watch a video and then we're going to do a quiz. Thank you.